was heading to the hospital to give birth when my mother-in-law called, saying, "Come home and cook." My husband said, "It's just a stomachache." But then, the ambulance. Welcome to Cheat Sheet Tales, where loyalty dies, lies bleed out, and the truth hits like a slap to the face. These aren't just stories. They're confessions soaked in betrayal and regret. Ever spotted a red flag when it was already too late? Say it in the comments. Let's tear into today's tale. Hospital. What are you talking about? You just don't want to cook dinner, right? Stop making excuses. These were the words I heard from my husband Marcus and my mother-in-law Teresa. I was on my way to the hospital because I was going into labor, but Teresa kept calling me nonstop. I had no choice but to go back home, even though I was in pain. Marcus and Teresa didn't seem to care that I was about to give birth. I made it to their house, but I collapsed and had to be rushed to the hospital, even though neither of them seemed worried about me. I had been patient for a long time, but this time, I decided I couldn't keep pretending things were fine with them. I'm Alina, 33 years old. I work in an office and I'm currently on maternity leave. My husband Marcus and I got married 2 years ago. We're the same age, and we met at a speed dating event. When I first saw him, he wasn't my type, but he was easy to talk to. I was really shy. I'd gone to many speed dating events before, but I was always too nervous to open up. With Marcus, though, I felt comfortable right away. We exchanged contact details for the first time that day. We went out for dinner a few times after that, and the conversation was just as easy as it had been when we first met. Time passed quickly, and we realized we had similar tastes in food, so we enjoyed going to restaurants together. I loved looking forward to weekends when I could see him. After a few dates, we decided to become a couple. A year later, we got married. At the beginning of our marriage, I still enjoyed talking to him just like when we were dating. I would rush home from work because I couldn't wait to see him. Eating dinner and talking about our day became the best part of my day, and I was always happy. But there was one thing I didn't like about being married: the weekend dinners at Marcus's parents' house. Every weekend, we'd drive there, and I'd cook dinner for everyone. Their house is about an hour away from ours, and I don't get along with Teresa. She can be nice, but she's unpredictable. When she gets angry, she can be really harsh. Before we got married, things went smoothly when I visited. I arrived at their house early in the afternoon, but by evening, I realized something was off. "You should eat too. I'm going to cook for you," Teresa suddenly said. I didn't want to trouble her, so I said, "No, it's okay. You don't need to cook for me. I'm telling you to eat," she snapped loudly. I was shocked, and all I could do was apologize. Marcus didn't defend me. While we waited for dinner, he scolded me, saying, "Why did you refuse her? Don't you care about my mom?" I was confused because he didn't act like the man I knew. It was Marcus's dad, Raymond, who helped ease the tension. "Where are you from, Alina?" he asked when he saw how uncomfortable I was. Once the meal was ready, Teresa was still upset, and Marcus seemed mad at me too. The whole situation was awkward, but Raymond kept asking me questions, making things feel more comfortable. When I was talking to my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and Marcus, who had been quiet at first, finally started joining the conversation. Eventually, we managed to enjoy the meal together, but after we left, Marcus didn't say anything to me. Even though my mother-in-law kept getting upset, Marcus always sided with her. Every time my father-in-law helped me, he would say, "Sorry, she has a short temper. Don't worry about it, okay?" I always get nervous before our weekly dinners. I worry that I might upset Teresa. No matter how careful I am, she still gets angry, and it leaves me exhausted by the time I get home. I don't want to go, but I put up with it because Marcus enjoys it. Every week before the dinner. "What are you going to cook this time?" Marcus would ask. I love him when we're alone at home, but I don't like him much at his parents' house. Then one day, I found out I was pregnant. The morning sickness was so bad that I had to take some days off work. Are you okay? Call me if you need anything, he said one morning when I was too sick to go to work. He went to the store and bought something I could eat. His kind words made me feel a bit better. That week, I was still feeling unwell and couldn't work. The smell of food made me feel worse, so I knew I wouldn't be able to make it to the dinner party. On the weekend, I thought Marcus would understand, but he said, "Rest today and we can go to the dinner tomorrow." The morning before he left for work, I told him, "I don't think I can go tomorrow. The smell of the food will make me sick." I was refusing to go to the dinner for the first time since we got married. Marcus got really upset and said, "What are you talking about? My mom looks forward to it every week. You promised we'd go to announce your pregnancy. Just deal with it." For one day, it was the first time I had ever seen Marcus this angry, except when he was upset with my in-laws. I didn't know why the dinner was that important. We had talked about going to announce the pregnancy, but that was before the morning. Sickness got so bad. "Sorry," I said, too sick to argue. I apologized to calm him down. He left without saying anything, and I ended up crying in bed because I felt so emotionally drained. That night, when he came home, Marcus was back to being kind, just like before. The next day, we drove to my parents-in-law's house. The hour-long drive was tough. I felt sick several times and had to stop to rest. Marcus was concerned, but he didn't suggest going back home. We bought some food and finally reached his parents' house. "Welcome." Teresa greeted us with a smile. Before starting dinner, we told them about the pregnancy. "Oh my gosh, congratulations." "I hope it's a boy," Teresa said, overjoyed. "Take care of yourself and have a healthy baby," Raymond, my father-in-law, added kindly. Marcus was happy to see his parents so excited. I was happy they were happy too, but I was feeling awful. I could barely manage a fake smile. While I cooked, I kept feeling sick and had to sit down to rest. I wore a mask to avoid the smell of the food. I could hear Marcus and Teresa talking happily together, completely ignoring how I was feeling. Raymond noticed that I wasn't feeling well and came to the kitchen. "Morning sickness? You came here to announce your pregnancy? I'm sorry you have to work when you're not feeling well. You don't have to do this next week," he said, helping me with the dishes. His kindness almost made me cry. I wished Marcus had said something like that. But Teresa didn't seem to care at all. When Raymond helped me. When dinner started, I was too sick to eat. "Alina, why aren't you eating?" Teresa asked. I could only answer, "I'm sorry. My morning sickness is so bad." She replied, "If you don't eat, your baby won't get any nutrients. You need to eat, even if you don't want to." With a stern look on her face, Marcus also said, "That's right. Stop making excuses and eat." I tried to force myself, but after one bite, I had to rush to the bathroom. "We're eating. That's gross." I heard Teresa yelling outside the bathroom. I couldn't stop crying. I'm not sure how long I was in the bathroom, but when I finally came out, Teresa had calmed down. I think Raymond must have said something to her. I was thankful to Raymond, but disappointed that Marcus hadn't shown any concern for me. After that, no matter how bad my morning sickness was, the weekly dinners kept happening. I wanted to refuse many times, but I knew Marcus would get angry. So I kept quiet. One day at another dinner, we announced that we were having a girl. "Oh, I wanted a boy," Teresa said. But she wasn't upset. "I know." "I'm sorry," Marcus replied. For some reason, he apologized to her. I didn't understand why he was apologizing. My frustration with him kept growing. Although he was kind at home, everything started to feel like a lie. But I had no choice but to endure it for the sake of the baby I was carrying. Every day, I just hoped the baby would be born safely. The baby was growing, and I was in the final months of my pregnancy. The baby could come anytime now. I had everything ready to go to the hospital, but the weekly dinner still continued. On the morning of one dinner, I started having contractions. The intervals were still long, so I didn't need to go to the hospital yet, but I wasn't sure when it would be time. I'm not going today, no matter what you say, I told Marcus firmly. I thought it was more important to stay safe and focus on having the baby than to make him angry. Screw you. You look fine. I'll take you even if I have to drag you, Marcus shouted, just like I expected. I won't go today, no matter what you say. What if something happens to the baby? For the first time in our marriage, I stood up to Marcus. As I was talking. Back, a contraction hit, and I bent over in pain. Enough. I'll go by myself. Marcus snapped and left. He didn't seem to care about me in pain, but I thought it was better than being forced to go with him. About an hour after he left, I decided to take a cab to the hospital as my contractions started getting closer. Just as I got in the cab, I saw that Teresa had called me multiple times. I checked my phone and saw dozens of missed calls. Hello. I answered, barely able to speak. Come home right now and cook dinner, she yelled as soon as I picked up. I'm on my way to the hospital for labor pains, I told her, but she didn't understand. Hospitals? What are you talking about? Just a stomach ache. You don't want to cook, do you? Don't make excuses. Then I heard Marcus's voice in the background. Come straight home now. Teresa didn't stop yelling. Okay. I understand. I didn't know what else to do but listen to them. I felt ashamed of myself. Tears streamed down my face from the pain, anger, and sadness. The cab driver was confused when I changed the destination to my in-laws' house. I finally arrived at their house, dizzy and sweating. As soon as I stepped inside, Teresa and Aunt started yelling at me, but I don't remember exactly what they said. I think they were shocked. I remember hearing Raymond calling an ambulance. The next thing I knew, I was in the delivery room at the hospital, still dazed from everything that had happened. I was desperate to have the baby. When I finally heard my baby cry, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. It's a healthy girl, the doctor said. And when I saw my daughter's face, I burst into tears of joy. After the delivery, Raymond came into the room. I'm so glad she's here safely. Congratulations. You did great, he said kindly. You called an ambulance for me, didn't you? Thank you, I said. Marcus wasn't there. When I looked around, it was already dark and the clock showed it was past midnight. I was so exhausted that I fell asleep. When I woke up, my parents were there. Congratulations, Alina. I'm so relieved. You look great, they said with smiles. I had plans to call my parents before going into delivery, but I didn't get the chance. Raymond reached out to them instead. When I saw my parents, I couldn't hold back my tears. I told them everything about Marcus and Teresa. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I can't forgive them. My father was furious, and my mother held me tightly, crying. It must have been so hard on you. You've been through so much. Then Raymond brought Teresa and Athen into the room. When my father saw Marcus, he said, "What were you going to do if something happened to my daughter or granddaughter?" My father yelled at Marcus. But Marcus replied, No, the baby is fine. Of course I care about our child, but I also care about my mother. I think it's Alina's fault for not saying it more clearly. Teresa also said something strange. Ava is right. Family dinners are important. I didn't know Alina was so close to giving birth because she never made it clear. My father tried to grab Marcus when he heard that, but I stopped him. I don't want to hear anymore. From now on, I'll take care of my daughter. Please leave. Marcus and Teresa shrugged and left the room. I'm really sorry. I'll talk to both of them, Raymond said as he left. Afterward, I spent time with my parents talking about the future. I realized how much their constant yelling had affected me. Looking at my daughter's face, I knew I had to be strong. I had to protect her, no matter what. My mother visited me every day, staying with me all day, and that helped me feel more at ease. Soon, the day came when I was ready to leave the hospital. I went home with my parents to the house where Marcus was waiting. I asked Raymond to bring Teresa along too. When we arrived home, I asked my mother to take my daughter to another room. "Welcome back, Alina," Ethan said as I walked in. "I'm so sorry. I was wrong. Let's live as a family from now on." He apologized suddenly, probably after Raymond spoke to him. "The three of us? Does that mean no more dinner parties?" I asked. Of course. "If you don't want to go, we won't go," he replied. I could see Teresa's face turning red. She was angry. I could tell, because I had seen her angry face so many times before. She must have hated that Marcus wasn't on her side anymore. I couldn't help but laugh. Then I took the divorce papers out of my bag. I wish I'd heard those words before the delivery. The dinner parties were more important than my morning sickness and labor pains, right? Why don't you and your mother continue them? Your mother, whom you love so much, is looking really angry. I'll live with my daughter alone. Please don't ever get involved with me again for the rest of my life, I said, smiling. "I'm sorry. She's my daughter to yeah," Marcus said. "I'm sorry. So forget about him. Ava is trying to make things work with you. Oh, is that what you really think? Do you think if you apologize, everything will go back to how it was before? Don't underestimate me. It can't be fixed. I'm moving out today. Why don't you to just support each other and live together?" I said. Then Raymond handed the divorce papers to Teresa. "That's it. You to live together without me. I can't believe what you did to Alina. Even after seeing Ava being born, I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't come home and called the ambulance." The day Raymond was off from work, I had gone to work in the morning. When he returned in the afternoon, Marcus and Teresa were yelling at me as I crouched down in pain. If Raymond hadn't come home, I'm not sure if I would have been able to give birth safely. He feels like he can't live with them anymore after seeing how they showed no remorse. Even after the birth, Raymond said, "Divorce? What are you talking about? I can't live with you guys anymore. The same goes for Alina. You two can't even understand that, can you? You're both hopeless," Raymond said. Marcus and Teresa were speechless, but Raymond said it firmly. Then my dad came in with cardboard boxes. He had rented a truck. I packed my things with my dad and Raymond and moved everything to the truck. Marcus and Teresa said something, but I ignored them. After everything was packed, I turned to Marcus and said, "Aren't you going to write the divorce papers? If not, my lawyer will contact you." I left the house with my parents, my daughter, and Raymond. I thanked Raymond, and we went back to my parents' house. Later, the divorce was finalized through my lawyer. I received a fair amount of alimony. Raymond also got divorced and sold his house. He told me that Marcus and Teresa, who used to be so close, were now blaming each other and fighting every day. He said it would be impossible for them to live together. Teresa had been a housewife for years and had almost no work experience, so she had no choice but to rely on Marcus. Marcus had very little savings, and after paying the alimony, he barely had anything left. He wasn't sure he'd be able to pay rent because of the child support. They tried to ask Raymond for help, but Raymond changed his phone number so they couldn't contact him anymore. I raised my daughter at my parents' house. Raymond and I still keep in touch. Once a month, he comes to visit us with gifts for my daughter. My parents also adore my daughter and spoil her as much as they can. My daughter's smile and happiness make me feel happy.